I'm doing my PowerPoint on chapter 6, the therapist working in the here and now. See, there's a typo on there as well. Um, First slide, the therapist working in the here and now. This chapter emphasizes the centrality of the here and now in group therapy. As there, I have a quote up there as well. Well, not a quote, but the therapist's duty is to activate and illuminate these moments to foster insight and change. Um, I do have an example. Have you ever been in a conversation where what's happening between you and the other person is more important than what you are actually talking about? So that's just kind of like something the therapist could be presenting to the clients or asking one of us who could be positioning ourselves as a client in this scenario. Dual structure of the here and now. There are two symbolic tiers. One is living in the moment, engaging with the immediate emotions and interactions. One is experiencing, two is process illumination. Neither has full therapeutic power without the other. Process illumination, well, experiencing is reflecting on and analyzing the interactions to uncover deeper relational patterns. Um, this is where members engage in real time emotional changes, including conflict, affectation, silence, tension, and more. This is where it'd be helpful for the therapist to encourage the members to stay present and explore their feelings as they arise. For process illumination, after the experience, the therapist could help the group reflect on what just occurred within the session. Um, let's say there was a moment of a breakthrough of reflection or uh, a moment of silence or something like that. It can kind of like bring this into the process where it can enlighten them or put them in a state to where they're able to receive or process what just occurred in that moment and how it made them feel or not feel. This is where the insight is generated, as I kind of like said before, for members to begin seeing the patterns of how they relate to others. Where there are two layers that are interdependent without reflection. Experiences is usually raw without experience. Reflection is abstract. Content versus process. For example, a member who always jokes when things become serious may be avoiding vulnerability, for instance. The therapist may respond, I notice you often make jokes when things get emotional. What is happening for you in those moments? Content is what is said, the explicit open message. Process is how and why it is said, depicting the underlying dynamics. So you have process and commentary, where the therapist tool um, uses a tool to reflect on group dynamics, creating a self-reflective loop. And the context is like the topic being discussed, in other words. For example, being in a fight with my partner, or process, the way the topic is being discussed. For example, you seem angry when you talk about it. The therapist shifts the group's attention from external stories to internal dynamics. This shift helps members see themselves in kind of a action, themselves in action, how they affect and are affected by the others. This shift can also help the members. Oh, never mind. I just said that. Techniques of process commentary. We have moderate inference, low inference, and high inference. Low inference, how are you experiencing the group today? whereas moderate, ooh, excuse me, you seem to be reacting to that comment, whereas high inference is I sense you seek respect here, and last week's comment may have hurt you. And mixing up my notes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's the therapist's role in the here and now. So it's activation, process, and illumination. Activation is establishing the norms that encourage emotional expression, feedback, and self-monitoring. Whereas process illumination is where members are guided to reflect on their behavior and impact and its impact on the others around them. For instance, with activation, the therapist can create a culture where members feel safe to express themselves, including modeling openness, encouraging feedback, and reinforcing group norms. Illumination, for instance, the therapist, he or she could help the members analyze their behavior and understand its impact. This is where change begins when members gain insight into their interpersonal style. The therapist must be able to balance support and challenges um, in order to help the members feel safe while also um, um, pushing them to grow. Here we have why process commentary is one outside therapy. Social norms discourage direct feedback. Fear of retaliation or power dynamics inhibit open reflection. This normalizes the behavior, making it a unique space for growth. I think I mixed my slides up. Sorry, low inference is simple observation, like what it's like. Um, like what it's like. Um, Whereas moderate is gentle in interpretation and high is deeper insights. Like I wonder if you're feeling rejected right now, but this helps them become more emotionally aware, more help them explore their reactions and practice new ways of relating. And now we have social norms discourage direct feedback, fear of retaliation, and power dynamics inhibit open reflection. In everyday life, we rarely analyze our interactions in real time, um, but in group therapy, it can provide a unique space where this kind of reflection is not only allowed but encouraged, like stepping into a more, like it's stepping into a moving to talk to characters about what just occurred. We have the past and the here and now. While the focus is present centered, the past is not included. The therapist may link past events to current group dynamics to encourage insight. This is the key to how the past is used, not whether it is. The key is how the past is used, not whether it is mentioned. Yalom doesn't reject the past, but he also reframes it as well. This makes the past useful only when it helps explain present behavior. The therapist might say, for instance, you mentioned your father was critical. Do you think that's why you felt judged judged just now in this instant? The past is a lens, not a destination. The goal is to understand how it shapes current relationships. Uniqueness of group therapy, where it is permissible, even encouraged, to comment in depth on the nature of immediately current relationships. Group therapy becomes a social microcosm, allowing members to experiment with new behaviors and receive real time feedback, recreating the relational pattern. Challenges in the distribution. Secondary gratification, non-therapeutic benefits. For example, uh, attention, status can distract from real world. Excuse me. The therapist must redirect the focus to the here and now process. For example, I wonder how others feel when you speak for so long without pausing. In summary, the here and now is not just a technique, but a philosophy of engagement. Effective therapy requires both experiencing and illuminating the present moment. The therapist is a facilitator of awareness, not just a passive observer. Closing thoughts that I have are the here and now is not just a thought or moment in time. It is a mirroring within part and of time through physicality, emotionality, and perpetual transient expression. I give to you as you give me. I hear you as you hear me. I feel you as you feel me, and I receive and or reject you, and you as you feel or reject me. I had another typo there. But this is the end of my presentation, and surely thank you for listening.